Hi, I'm Deana Farrell, and today I want to talk to you about snapping out of mood swings. If you are watching me here on YouTube, then I'm calling this, I don't know, these series of videos, let's say, Lost in Translation. I recently did one about adventures, Mad Libs, and magnetism. And the goal here is to get us thinking a little bit deeper. And by that, I mean using our faith muscles. As believers, we have got to get not only more into the word, but realizing what those words actually are, what they mean. And I know this sounds a little cryptic, but hopefully after today's episode, you will have a better understanding of what I mean when I say lost in translation, because I believe that we really are losing a lot of things in translation, whether it's what people are telling us things mean and what they really mean, or us maybe changing the narrative of what things mean so that it fits and suits us better and keeps us in our comfort zones. And we were never meant to stay in our comfort zones. Growth does not happen in the comfort zone, right? Okay, so you're watching me on YouTube. For those of you who are listening, I am an entrepreneur and I'm always trying to work smarter. And one of those is through this platform right now. I'm using StreamYard. So those of you who are watching on YouTube, you're going to see the little banners pop up on the bottom, which I'm able to do. Those of you who are listening, the audio from this YouTube video will be used as podcast number 58. So if you catch this on the replay, know that you can go over to the Prioritize Focus podcast. That's on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, all the places that you get podcasts. And this will be episode number 58. So let's get started with today's little episode, let's say, or let's call it. Ever have one of those, the chains on my mood swing just snapped kind of a days? Now, I'm pretty confident, and I'll venture a guess of yes, we've all had these moments. And I'll be kind and say moments instead of days or seasons, even though you and I both know that we've had days and seasons of snapped chains on our mood swings, right? But we'll not discuss or get into any of the injuries and if you were the recipient or the inflictor of said snap chain episodes. See, these mood swings seem to happen instantly and come out of nowhere without warning. 1 minute, you're tolerating the situation or circumstance at hand, and the next, snap. And God help those that are in the fallout area when that happens. Am I right? Yet, most of us are keenly aware of what puts us in a mood and even the pre-warning signs. So, how is it that we can get so blindsided by a mood swing? Too much tolerating and not enough prevention. Maybe these habits are hard to break. And by habits, I mean not paying attention or being aware of the pre-warning signs. They're hard to break because we spend too much time tolerating situations and circumstances that we should not, or maybe were never meant to deal with in the first place. Think about the last time you knew what you should have or could have done to change or get out of an unwanted circumstances, but didn't. What did it do for your mood? I'll bet you started to get real agitated and frustrated. You were taking deep, long breaths, and not the cleansing kind, but the I better count to 10 kind of breaths. Clenching your teeth and focusing on not allowing your face to give away what you're really thinking. How scary familiar was that scenario? How about some prevention tips? Yes, please. Listen, I'm a bit older and hopefully wiser. So recognizing these unwanted feelings disguised as mood swings are crucial to preventing any more, let's say, gray hairs, which, by the way, what causes more gray hairs? Stress or age? I don't know, but I've already got more than I'm willing to embrace. So I'm going to err on the side of caution and go with how to prevent more gray hairs. So just like we can cover up our gray hairs, we love to cover up our moodiness, mostly with excuses. Listen, I've got plenty of excuses of why I'm in a bad mood, or why my mood is the way that I am, or why I'm not in the mood, or anything, right? Now, before you get all defensive, let me just acknowledge that yes, there are sometimes other things at play, but there's more within our control than we take into account. Things that are within a reasonable amount of our control are things like taking better care of our health. Eating right and exercising are proven mood boosters. Taking care of our minds by paying attention to what goes in there is also a known factor to better feelings, otherwise known as moods. And making sure that we're in environments that are supportive, nurturing, and safe. This includes the places we choose to go and those that we choose to surround ourselves with. Isn't it interesting that when you check all those boxes, you have a more positive outlook, better energy, more productive, and dare I say, more enjoyable to be around? I know that works for me. But another game changer in the area of our moods is learning responsiveness over reaction. Yes, I'm aware that you cannot control the people around you, but you can control how you respond to those people. And listen, if those people are getting on your last nerve, you can either have a controlled, disciplined response. See, a response takes some thought and some deep count to 10 breaths. Or you can choose to jump right into an unhealthy, healthy, and mostly unbecoming react response or react mode. Which one do you think that you'll feel good about? I've had plenty of times where I've gone directly into a reaction mode instead of a more calm, discipline mode. But there are other types of mood swings too. And this is the one that I really, really want you to get. And this is where I mentioned before, lost in translation. This is where this is going to come together. So if you were kind of half listening before, I really need you to lean in and take this in. Our spiritual walk can also have mood swings. Tell me if this sounds familiar. When everything is going well and going right and falling into place, God is awesome. Your faith is strong. You're going around telling everyone how faithful God is, all that he's done for you, all that he's provided, all that he's promised. And you're looking like the model saint. People are being like, I want what she has. We embrace the role of being one of his children. Relish the fact that we have been given power through the Holy Spirit and the God-given ability to actually be an overcomer. We are thankful for God's grace and his mercy, and know that he loves us despite of being, well, us. And it's reflective in the way that we treat others. It's evident. But when things aren't going so well, what happens? It's blame game time. And who's usually the first to get blamed? Yep, it's God. You start to question his sovereignty and why? Why has he allowed this to happen to you? History and our own experience shows us that we should be praying for clarity to see what he sees. Our prayers should be that he reveals and then removes any pride or self-interest that's within us. But instead, our prayers consist of listing all the things that we can't do or we can't handle anymore. And then the remedy for how God needs to fix it. We suddenly swing from faithful to faithless, slide from victor to victim. We trade our status of chosen for the objections and rejections that were placed on us by somebody else. How quick do we forget who God tells us we really are? And here's the thing. It boils down to one thing. And you and I both know what this one thing is, but we bury it, we hide it, we disguise it, we call it something else. It's fear. And that fear is that we're afraid of letting go. We want to control the potential outcome, which is pretty funny because the one who knows our potential, loves us more than anything, is the very one that we hinder from guiding us. Our fear prevents us from who God always meant for us to be. Our fear prevents us from allowing him to guide us and take us to where we were always meant to go. Oh yeah. And he knows the outcome of every situation and circumstance that we're trying to control on every single occasion. There isn't one time or one place that God didn't know how it was going to go or how it should have ended up had we not gotten in the way. Did you ever do that? Did you ever get in God's way? I know I have. Those dark, dark times when I couldn't see what he wanted for me. I couldn't see the path that I was supposed to go because I was blocking the way. Think about it. When the light is behind you, you cast the shadow, don't you? So if he's light and I put him behind me, I'm blocking the light that I need for the path in front of me. As opposed to if the light is in front of me, lights up the path. We have to stop putting him behind us. He's in front, we follow. So he knows the outcome of the situation and circumstance on every occasion. This is the part that I'm so excited about. This is the part that led me to write this whole thing that I'm sharing with you right now. This is the thing that ties it all together, and this is where we get it lost in translation. So if he knows the outcome of every situation and circumstance on every single occasion, listen to this. The Hebrew word for occasion is aphorme. I'll put it up on the screen so that you can see it. It's spelled A-P-H-O-R-M-E. For those of you who are listening, aphorme, A-P-H-O-R-M-E. It's the Hebrew word for occasion, and it means a starting point. So there isn't an occasion that God does not know the outcome. As a matter of fact, let's remember this word aphorme to mean every circumstance and every situation is happening for me, not to me. It's just another starting point where God is already waiting for us to finish stronger than we started, because it's exactly what he prepared us for. I kind of don't know what else to say. And the same thing, when I wrote out this whole thing, I didn't know what it was going to be. So I turned it into a blog post. So if you're listening to this, it is also a blog post. If you're listening to this, you know that it's a podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, you now know that it's a podcast and a blog post. But that little definition changes everything. Aphorme, a starting point. Everything happens for you. So when you change that perspective of the situations and circumstances that are happening in your life, God knows the outcome. And it's being used for you to help shape you and make you into who you need to be in order to become who you were always meant to be. See, we have these big goals and these big dreams of what we want. But oftentimes we're not willing to lay down things that we need to lay down in order to become who we need to be to handle what it is that we want. So before I ramble on anymore, I'm going to leave you with this verse. It's Philippians 1:6. And it is this. And I think it's a good reminder of what was talked about today. And it's being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. So until Christ comes back, he's always going to be working those circumstances for us, working those situations for us, those occasions for me. I hope this encouraged you today. I hope that you will be back for other episodes. And if you would like to stay connected, you can find me at deanafarrell.com. And as I mentioned before, this YouTube episode will also be a podcast, episode number 58, over on the Prioritized Focus podcast. And you can also read it as a blog post at deanafarrell.com. Thanks so much, and I will see you next time.